Howdy, Matt. I found it. I need to take this thing and just like strap it to my neck so I don't lose it. But you had a question about draw weight, and so I've got almost 70 pounds at whatever draw this is. Yeah, about 67 pounds at that draw, which I have to say, it's not the most comfortable for me. And so what I can do on this one, and it's simple because I really like this. You can it's hard to see probably on the video, but this nice taper, it's got a nice bend throughout the limbs. I'm going to take my sanding block. I'm going to start out with probably 180 because it removes wood, you know, darn near as good as 80. It really does. What keeps the sandpaper from working a lot of time is that it just clogs up. And high quality 180, you know, and cheap 80 seems to be kind of comparable. And it's just a matter of, you know, just even 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the same here because it is balanced. But I'd like to work this down to 55 pounds at that same draw length so I can shoot it evenly. Now, I was flight shooting this morning and wound up losing my arrow. You know, it happens. And with a heavy, actually long, weird arrow with no fletching. Because I can make arrows that don't need fletching, 36 inches long, you know, weight forward, river cane main shaft, hardwood foreshaft with a heavy point on the tip. You know, they fly well. You don't need fletching on arrows, you know, as long as they're tuned right, and they fly okay. And usually it's the longer arrows that, you know, will fly good. And you see that South American tribes and other such tribes will use longer arrows and they won't be fletched. A side note is that it's always been my goal, because I've at-ladled in the past, but you know, I've got these darts that are like 6.5 feet long and they're fletched and everything. It's been my goal to tune the thrower to the dart in order to get darts that are not that much longer than 4 feet long and unfletched. Malcolm PL, his channel, he actually shows us. He's got a quiver with short unfletched darts and he's throwing them. Now, keep in mind, it's just like Shadiversity drawing conclusions on throwing knives when he is not an expert at throwing knives by any means. You know, so you hear people, well, you know, you have to have long darts, they need to be fletched, yada, yada, yada. But I would say that if you have been throwing darts your whole life, you know, in these tribes where they used them, these people were, that's what they did. And so they gained the skill to be able to use them effectively. And I really would like to figure out how to get good enough, instead of saying, are they effective, but learn the skills to make them effective. You know, just throwing a stone at something can be effective if you're a really good stone thrower. But let me pull this train back onto the tracks. I've always been fascinated with unfletched projectiles. It adds a whole new wrinkle. Just think of how easy it would be if you had a quiver full of arrows. You didn't need to find the feathers. You didn't need to prepare the feathers. You didn't need to stick them on the shafts. How much easier that would be. Now, I did find that when I used my unfletched arrow, I just had one, and I lost it. I'm bumming about it. You know, normally you lose arrows, and it's like, well, whatever. You know, it happens. I really truly feel bad about losing this one arrow. But yeah, it works out. It would be something, even with the short bow, longish arrows, no fletching. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Hopefully I threw some thoughts your way that will work out, and I'm really digging this thing. But yeah, it could stand to be down to 55 pounds, because if you can get a longer draw to something at a lighter weight, it'll actually throw an arrow better than something heavy that you can't pull back as far. You know, it's that whole thing. What's a more effective bow? A lighter bow or a heavier bow? Well, a lot of it depends on draw length. There you go.